everybody. This is Dave Stevens coming to you from the home studios here in Bristol, Connecticut. It's not the only place that has studios in Bristol, Connecticut, and it is great to be here with you guys today. So let's welcome our listeners, including the Disability Channel, Ability Media, and all our fans on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and welcome to all of our podcast listeners all over the world. And a special thanks to our sponsors, Manscaped and Fresh Clean Threads. You can get some amazing deals at their sites, including 20% off when you use our code GSS Show. And it is a great day to have some old time friends. In fact, I've got a guest that is popping in. So first off, let me bring in my co-host from Minnesota. And you know that it is always a fun time to have Troy here with me. So Troy, it's great to see you. How are things in my old stomping grounds in Minnesota? And since the Twins are sinking, you must be ready for football season.
Yeah, I kind of turned the page on the baseball season and looking forward to football.
And it is exciting. I've got a huge surprise, but let me bring in our first guest. He is our main show guest, and we had someone pop in, but he just popped out, so I think he's going to try to pop in. But joining us today, my guest happens to be one of my best friends in the world. This man is also a SportsCenter legend, first in Bristol for many years before moving to ESPN Los Angeles to start with Stan Verett. He's a close personal friend of the Oregon Duck, and he's the only man who understands Bill Walton. So this is Dave Stevens, and I'm enjoying introducing my buddy down here, Neil Everett. Hi, Neil. Welcome.
How's it? Troy, Dave. Troy, the Twins are like a game out of the wild card, and you've written them off already.
Yeah, every year it's the Yankees sweep, so I'm looking forward to that again.
Well, Neil, it is great to see you again. And last time we got together was at the Super Bowl. We got to have lunch outside this really cool little hamburger place out there before all the chaos started out there. And but quickly, because again, we like to have secrets and surprises on this show. So this is a kind of like this is your life. And so before we let him go and start his day, I've got SportsCenter, ex-SportsCenter anchor, current Caesars Palace Hawkman extraordinaire for a website that will teach you how to win money on sports, because we have FanDuel as part of our sponsors. But Kenny Mayne joining us for a couple minutes, also out in California. Kenny, thanks for stopping by. Your memories of Neil Everett?
What a day. Really mean to like the janitor and treated the PAs just talked down, and he was one of the least liked people at ESPN. Always. No. Neil's.
What are you using, an ESPN phone?
I can hold it sideways. I was going top and down. Here we'll go sideways. Boom. How's that?
That's all right. Our podcast listeners don't know anyway, but
Grandpa has joined the chat. Grandpa has
joined
the chat. No, I love Neil. It's funny. Neil and I knew of each other long before we knew each other. A good friend named Geary Hanley. Geary was my cameraman and friend at KST. He was the same for Neil and a good friend in Hawaii. And he together, right? Like, oh, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy. And then years later, it ended up happening. Always good to be on with Neil in any fashion. We're dropping Elena at USC. Now we're in Malibu. That sounded very, very 1%. I know, but it's. Am I no longer on the podcast?
No, you're on.
Couple things.
Neil's going to say to you something.
Couple things. I was best man in Jerry's wedding, making me apparently a better friend to Jerry than Kenny was. And last time Kenny was here, Kenny and his gorgeous wife Gretchen were here dropping off their daughter. They actually called me, but apparently, Kenny picked up lunch and maybe didn't think I was going to pick it up this time, so I didn't get a call.
No.
So
we just hadn't gotten to. I was just in Las Vegas. Me and Raj. We want to eat at the same place. Gretchen said, by the way. No, you were on the call last night, and icing my ankles and recovering, and here we go. It's time to go. It's in my screen.
It's all kinds of fun things and camera angles and switches and things like that. So it's
What am I supposed to hear?
You're fine. You can say any way you want.
Kenny did not turn it. Kenny did not turn in the ESPN phone like the memo requested back when they discontinued it. He continues to use it. It's clearly outdated.
That's another fine idea by ESPN. That kind
There they are.
Hey, for our
There they
listeners
are.
out there, Kenny's daughters and everybody in the background here, that it's great to see you guys from Connecticut and California and Minnesota. So, Kenny, I know you got to go, but you got a podcast that you're going to be our guest on, but your podcast is way bigger. And tell us a little about it. Tell us some of the guests coming up.
We have Ellie Mistal. He's very political. I'm a fan of his. He's on tomorrow. Aubrey Plaza, famous actor from her, which you should all go see. She was on last week. We've had Jamal Crawford, Bill Walton, Kenzie or Jason Kander. Who am I leaving out? Jamel Hill, Chris Berman. That's our list. And we have Joel McHale and Roy Wood Jr. It's called Hey Maine. HEYMAYNE. I'm supposed to say get it easy to download or wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah. Well, thank you for lowering yourself to our humble establishment, Kenny. And I know you will be on with us down the road.
Love you, Neil.
Thanks.
Leave me alone.
All right. Kenny Mayne popping in. If you could hear him, it was great to see him. And man, what a good human being, and another just a legend that as you watch these ESPN people fall, and but let's stay positive and let's keep it real. And so Neil, right? No normie comment today on this show, but as you watch and you see Kenny, I'm going to just go right out of the gate. Much like that first kiss in life. Remember your very first SportsCenter show?
I don't. But I remember the way that it was announced to me that I was going to be on SportsCenter, and it was at a big talent meeting, and they put on the board, this is going to be the new 1 a.m. team on these days. And it had to have been with Steve Berthiaume. I'm almost sure it was with Steve. But what I remember more is when I went back to Hawaii and I said, hey, I'm going to be on SportsCenter now, because I had started on ESPN News. And everyone in Hawaii, where I thought they were going to say, awesome, man. They were like, when are you going to be in a commercial? That's all anybody wanted to know, was when I was going to be in a commercial. So I felt like I'd really arrived when I was in a commercial, more so than when I made SportsCenter. But both things were life-changing, transformative, and dreams that I thought I'd never see.
Well, speaking of commercials, as a good producer already is, how about this one, if you remember it as we watch it?
Okay, bye-bye. Eighth reception today.
You mean phone call?
Yesterday I had 109. A few more, I could have broken the record.
What record? Their phone calls.
I'm sorry, is this the reception desk or the phone call desk?
Reception desk.
Thank you. Excuse me. ESPN, Antonio speaking.
Hold on, I put you right there.
Troy, you have some great memories of those commercials, so jump in here for a second.
Yeah, one of my favorites was when you gave everybody a pep talk around the office. Do you remember that commercial, and how much fun was that?
Oh, I don't remember that commercial. Was that a commercial, or was that something we did? I don't think that was a commercial. That was out of LA, and that was just a skit. I think we did out of the LA office, if I remember correctly.
No, thank you.
Neil, what do you remember though from when they were all filming and you could at any given moment, watch this guy tackle somebody, or just, the great creativity that they used to have? I don't think they hold up as much as the prior group they had producing them, but there really were some memorable ones that you got to be a part of. I think we had Bon Jovi in the newsroom. You had famous tennis players everywhere. I mean, what are some of your memories of the SportsCenter commercials?
Well, listen, when you got picked to do one, it was always like, all right, sweet. Who am I doing it with? What, I'm doing it with David Wright and Van Pelt. Cool. I'm doing it with Ozzie Guillen. Oh, not really. He's just like, you're pretending like he's on the other end of the phone call. The one with Roger Federer was I'll tell you a quick little story about that one. That's the first one I really did, where I was, a credited actor in it. And it was Roger, hey, what happens if we rate SportsCenter anchors? Where would I be, in the top 10? And Roger Federer says, I'm not sure you'd be in the top 10. And I gave him the stink eye and said, I'm in the top 10, Roger. And the backstory that was so funny about that is Roger Federer sent me an email shortly thereafter, and he said, hey, I did some homework since I met you. You definitely are in the top 10. Had a great time with you. And this is before Roger Federer had an entourage. I mean, he was on the cusp of greatness, but he wasn't, the great Roger Federer. He was just he could be great Roger Federer. And so he sent me this email, and he said, would you like to come and be my guest at the U.S. Open and watch me play tennis? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, this is so unbelievably cool. So I wrote him back, oh, yeah. And crickets. So then I wrote him back, yeah, crickets. And so there wasn't going to be a third time for me to write and ask him about it. And so I never heard from Raj again. And now the U.S. Open's on. So I'm watching Roger Federer from my living room in Canton. And they show Roger Federer's guest box. I guess tennis players get a box with their guests. And there's Tiger Woods sitting in there. And I'm like, oh, I lost my seat to Tiger Woods. So anyhow, but still, it was a great memory. And Roger Federer was a great sport, and I've always rooted for him since.
You have great on-camera chemistry with Stan Verett. How much fun is it working with him?
Oh, I love Stan. I always say that if I was arrested, Stan would be and I got one call, it would be Stan. We've grown extremely close. I love him like a brother. I root for him. He roots for me. I don't know that there's somebody that officially keeps track, but I think we've done more shows as a team together than probably anybody, because we've been there so long and have worked, and the amount of time we work together. We're the odd couple. I'm Oscar, he's Felix. But no, I have great respect for Stan. I've become a better SportsCenter anchor, and I think a better person by having a relationship with Stan.
Well, it's been great to see the growth as far as ESPN LA, because it seemed like in our days when you and I used to hang out, it was either the Jets or the Yankees or the Mets, or and they forgot about those West Coast teams. And I'm just wondering, during your short tenure out there, what have you been out there now? 10 years?
No, this is my 23rd year, and I was 9 years.
I mean, in LA.
Oh, so I think this is my 13th or 14th year.
Wow. It seems like it's shorter. It's just bloop overnight. You and I used to hang out and have a couple of Diet Cokes together after work.
Yeah,
and
listen, you run those old clips. Heck, I didn't have a gray hair in my head, and now I don't have one that's not gray.
I know. And, that's why it's great to be able to get together and just reminisce a little bit, even though it's here on our podcast. And we're going to keep things moving. So don't go away. We've got some bills to pay. And of course, we're
going to Manscape.
Yeah, we're going to Manscape. In fact, hey, let me just play it right here for you.
Right now, I'm ready.
Here we go. Hi again, everybody. Dave Stevens here for Manscaped. And what you see on the outside isn't always what you get down below. And what's the best way to get rid of all this unwanted stuff below the waist? By using the complete line of Manscaped products to get rid of all that unwanted, unsightly hair from down below. That's because Manscaped has come out with the Performance Package 4.0. Inside this set, you'll find their Lawnmower Waterproof 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker Ear, Nose, and Hair Trimmer, Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. So, if you want to get rid of this, or you can look like this, thanks to these amazing Manscaped products. And if you check out now and enter the code GSS Show, you save 20%. So go to manscaped.com. Your boys will thank you, and the significant others in your life will be happy too. I don't know what's going on with our commercials here, but if you want 20% off the world's softest, comfiest, best fitting men's clothes, Fresh Clean Threads has your back and your front and your sides with everything from tees, tanks, and Henleys to polos, pullovers, and hoodies. Get designer quality basics without paying ridiculous designer prices. Everyone deserves to look good and feel great. Confidence shouldn't cost a fortune. Go to freshcleanthreads.com and use special code GSS Show for 20% off your order. Your perfect fit awaits. And I don't know what we had technically wise with our Manscaped commercial today, so I apologize to that. But Manscaped, it really is a pretty cool product. It's been amazing to see. They've sent us this entire box filled with these goodies, and some of the best stuff is obviously the trimmers and the stuff. But the stuff I've actually been using is it's the preserver. It's the ball deodorant. And it's really, but I've been putting it on my face and my beard, and the girls have been like, wow, you smell really good, and so they've got the crop reviver that they have. And again, Troy's sitting there laughing, but he knows how great this stuff is. We've got these things. I don't have old man ear hair anymore because of the stuff that Manscaped provides. And again, if you order with our code GSS Show, you get 20% off. And it's just, I can't say enough. I thank you, and your balls will thank you. This is a baseball for people at home that are not seeing. So I'm trying to avoid tap dancing for all the tough things that we try to, talk about here. But Manscaped is great. I've been using the trimmer. It's taken away like the upper part, the bottom part I don't really care about too much, but that's it. It really has been amazing, and the support of everybody out there that have been buying the products and things like that. So that's my 2 cents. Troy, you got anything to add about Manscaped?
No, I just want to thank everybody that's been supportive, and we just announced yesterday we had a long-term contract with Manscaped, so thank you for everybody that helped get us there.
Comes with a great bag, and like I said, your face will smell as good as your boys, so make sure you use that. So back to my boy Neil, probably the weirdest transition you've ever had to deal with as a guest. But how are your boys downstairs? Are they doing okay? Do they need some manscaping?
I live on a single level residence. I've got no basement.
There you go. That's the good answer. All right. Well, Neil, we've talked about, your start in television. For those that didn't know your progress, I mean, you've been all over the place from where you started to where you are now. I mean, like, Hawaii, all these locations, so tell us, has that struggle been rewarding to you to get to this point, considering where you came from?
Oh, I wouldn't call it a struggle. I've been blessed. I lived in Oregon. I moved to Hawaii in '85. I was there until 2000, and ESPN found me over there and was kind enough to give me a tryout. And I eventually hooked them, and they reeled me in. And it's like I'm living outside my body, watching somebody else have the life that working for ESPN has afforded me, and the people I've met, and the great thing, the Dave Stevens, the Kenny Maines, all the great people I've met, and the great things I've been able to do, and the events I've gone to, and all that. So struggle's not a fair word. I'm blessed and thankful.
You have quite a few catchphrases everybody knows about right now. My favorite, bartender Jack. How did those start? Are those organically that you thought about, or did you give it some thought when you're doing some highlights and says, "Oh, this might be cool to add in"?
It just came to me. It's like I don't know where. Listen, I used to drink Jack when I was younger, and it just hit me one day, and and then bartender Jose, when Jose Bautista was hitting all those home runs for the Blue Jays.
And here he is, the great Vin Scully. Vin, thanks for joining us. And I understand there's a little bit of house cleaning going on in terms of your memorabilia. What's going on?
There's always a guy named Bailey.
Well, Neil,
Joe Madden at it again.
Kind of
Tuesday brings the cockatoo into the clubhouse, and he follows that up with the Penguins on Wednesday. The Rays
cool.
manager tweeting that his motivation was to get his guys to chill. He motivated me to motivate our team.
Some of the catchphrases, and so to have mine on there is, I feel like we're pretty cool about that, and I'm glad people enjoy it.
And you've given a lot of kudos and things to like the Hawaii students. They get a lot of love, but normally SportsCenter wouldn't have. And Troy, you also wanted to ask him about some college stuff that he's been a big part of.
Yeah, you said that Gonzaga is America's team. I just want to get your thoughts. What do you think of Chet Holmgren, and how is he going to be as a pro?
Minnesotan Chet Holmgren, you mean? Yes. I think Chet Holmgren, I don't know how you pass on him. Listen, when you see him in person, he's so skinny. It's scary. His legs are like twig-like. But then you watch him play, and especially in person. And I watched him play against Memphis and Duran, who a lot of people are talking about. Was an 18-year-old kid as well, but built like a beast. He had the Ben Wallace body going, and Holmgren has the Greg Oden body going, or the Kevin Durant, the thin man body going, and Chet Holmgren did not back down, and that's at the college game. It's going to be interesting because people are going to try and take it to him at the NBA level, obviously, and I'll be interesting to see how he does. But he's got it. He can dribble. He can shoot. I don't want to say he reminds me of KD, because KD is one of the great, should go down as one of the great players ever. But barring injury, like what happened with Oden, I'll be surprised if Chet Holmgren is not a really, really good pro.
Okay, awesome. Speaking of the NBA, last season, the Portland Trailblazers hired you to do your pre- and post-game shows and halftime stuff. Being from Portland and Oregon native, what kind of honor was that for you to be able to ask to do that?
Oh, tremendous. Tremendous. I'm trying to figure out how to work my way back to Oregon. That's where I was born. That's where my wife is from. Instead of spending 100% of my time, wow, you guys went deep on the pictures. Jesus. Oh, wow.
For our podcast viewers, there's some very early photos of Neil from grade school. I think that's with your sister.
It's just Megan, yeah. And look I got the Oregon shirt on there from way back when. I had some seriously good hair back then.
Our research department is better than yours.
Yeah, it is. But to answer your question, Troy, it was wonderful. I'd never done anything like that. So number one, it was a new skill set to learn hosting a show like that. It's super quick. I mean, boom. The first game, I was so enthusiastic. I was just running on adrenaline. The second game I really studied for, and I just completely bombed because I had way too much information in my head for a 23-minute show, which is what a half-hour show is on TV with commercials. But after that, I think I got it down pretty good. The crew was great. The team was not very good, but they lost Lillard early. I think they're going to be better. I'm hoping I get to do it again. That's Portland's call. But I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of travel and all that, but it was nice to be back. And Portland's a team I grew up with because my dad lived in Portland when I lived in Spokane. And the first NBA games I went to on any regular basis because he had tickets were the Blazers, and those were the mid-'70s, the team that won the title. I can still see Walton running down the court and towards it with the drop-off behind the back pass to him, and Walton slams it home. And I got to hang out with Bill Schonely a little bit doing this, and he's a legend, and I could go on and on. I certainly hope I get to do it again. I really enjoyed it, and I think better times await the Blazers with Chauncey Billups and a healthy Damian Lillard.
Great.
Neil, what as you look back, at your amazing, illustrious career, when did you know you made it, and who is the most bizarre celebrity you've gotten to meet?
I don't know if you ever feel like you made it, but I still work as hard on that show today as I did when I first started. So I think doing your homework and being prepped is it's what you owe your audience, to not just go in there and wing it. I could probably go in there and wing it, but I wouldn't feel good about that. So I don't ever want to think like I made it. But I appreciate that. I'll tell you, well, first of all, meeting Bill Walton has been just a blessing. And I remember I first met Bill in Bristol because they said, you're going to interview Bill Walton. And as I previously said, here's the Blazers are my team. Walton's kind of a hero of mine, even though I've never met him. And he couldn't have been nicer. And it's so fun and so interesting. I mean, the thing, Bill Walton is so intelligent, so interesting, and he invited me. And I told him my brother lived in San Diego, and that's where Bill lives. And he said, next time you're in San Diego, please come to my house, let me know, and I'll have you over for dinner. And true to his word, he did. And I had my stepfather, who was a basketball coach, who had actually hunted with John Wooden's brother. And I had my two brothers and a dear friend and myself and Bill Walton and his wife, Lori, they were the most gracious hosts, and we've been able to remain friends. So that's one of the biggest blessings that's come out of this job, is a friendship with Bill and Lori Walton that my wife and I have. I got to interview Jeff Bridges. That was pretty cool. He was kind of wacky. Michael Keaton was super wacky, and Michael Keaton and I talked for 49 minutes on the set. Okay, you're going to use 3 minutes, 4 minutes. They ended up using like 11 minutes of it because Michael Keaton was so good. He had so many sports things going on, and just I was like, and he was just like Billy Blaze in Night Shift. I mean, he came right up when I first met him. Go, yeah, Michael Keaton, and I'm like, yeah, I know, yeah. So I've kept a list of all these guys I've ever talked to, just so I'll remember. I'll tell you one guy who was kind of wacky was this guy DJ Khaled, because I had no idea who he was, and they're like, you're going to interview DJ Khaled. I'm like, okay, why? And he's blowing up. He is. Yeah, he just bought a $10 million house in Beverly Hills, and I'm like, what? Wow. And I remember he got on, and he was nice, and he's a big sports guy. You saw him in the Miami Heat games and all that. I didn't, I had to do my homework because I had no idea who he was. But I remember one of the first things he said was, "This is going to be one of the greatest shows you've ever done." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because I'm on it." And I said, "All right." So I appreciated his confidence, because I think confidence is a good thing to have, and I always wish I had more. So he was kind of wacky because he was completely out of my wheelhouse. Not only had never heard of him, and this was years ago. Not only I'd never heard of him, I had he's not just like house music or DJ this or Steve Aoki. I interviewed him. These guys belong to a world that I'm not involved in. So I like that, where I get to learn something more about other people.
All right. Well, we're going to stay with us one more quick break. Hopefully, the commercial plays a little better this time. This is Dave Stevens with Neil Everett. Don't go away. You're watching Geary, Stein, and Stevens. Stay tuned.
This is Pete Davidson from Manscaped. Surprise your girlfriend. Sorry. Let's show them how hairless we could be, boys. Presentation matters. Don't make me get specific, because I will. Shave your dick. Shave it, baby. I got a hot date. I've been using this guy long enough to where I think it's time we went into business together. Meet the new face, among other parts, of Manscaped.
Fresh Clean Tees was a shirt company. Over the years, you've asked us for more. We've listened. And now we're entering a new era with a new name. It's time for us to officially be the brand you've helped us grow into. We believe in our basics, from the first thread to the final stitch. We always have, we always will. The only thing that's truly changing is our sense of adventure. We're expanding our lineup by developing new, exciting products that largely come from customer requests. Customers like you are a huge part of who we are and how we got here. So we're still going to make fresh tees, but we're also going to make a lot of new threads inspired by you. In short, we just want to make clothes that you want to wear. So we're an apparel brand now. Let us reintroduce ourselves. We are Fresh, Clean Threads.
Be wearing those fresh, clean threads right now. And of course, don't forget Manscaped, because you know what they do? They actually do. They do improve your body. And, the support for the Geary, Stein, and Steven show is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best below the waist man grooming products. And as we said, if you go to the website and put in GSS show, you get 20% off. And I know Neil is right now going to his laptop, and I think he's ordering. How much are you ordering on there, Neil? You put in the code?
Yes. Yes. I'm thinking of the AC/DC song right now. So
yeah.
Who is Stein? Where is Stein? What is Stein?
Will Stein has been on assignment, and hopefully he's back from where was he this week? He was at a Vikings golf tournament, Troy?
Yeah, he was with the Vikings legend, some golf tournament, John Randall and Randall McDaniel and all
he's out trying to stir up guests that but Will will be on, and hopefully we'll get him back for you. So we're sorry that you've missed.
You
Will.
have the Vikings winning the NFC North.
I do.
I think this might be their year.
Well, I don't know if I'll go too carried away on that, but
well, I mean, listen, if they win the NFC North, that's what I mean by their year. I'm not saying they're
okay.
You don't think that Aaron Rodgers is all pissed off at his own team and all that he's got even more to prove now to go out and to kill them?
Well,
I'm a Vikings fan, but I'm a realist too.
He doesn't have Devontae Adams anymore. That's a huge loss.
Yeah.
And
well,
I think that Minnesota, I think, is a decent pick, and I'm not just saying because I got Minnesotans on the other end.
You got a couple. So, but for you, I learned that as I left ESPN, I became almost less of a sports fan just because I got dealing with life and my kids and things like that. Are you still the same sports fan you are when you were 20 years ago, or does it change, or do you move on to other sports, or do you more become a fan of individual players?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm definitely a fan of individual players. Like anybody from Hawaii, I always rooted for when I was so when I lived in Hawaii for 15 years, because there's no professional sports teams there, and the time difference, and plus you're in Hawaii, who wants to really sit around and watch sports? I didn't follow major sports like Major League Baseball and NBA and NFL that much. I followed more college, and I followed more local Hawaii sports, and I followed niche sports that were Hawaii centric. Surfing, sumo. Those were two that you wouldn't get a lot of run with. Canoeing. I went to Tahiti and covered long distance canoe championships. Outrigger canoe championships, those types of things. So I had to really bring myself up to speed when I got to ESPN because I had not paid attention. Now I paid attention to like Benny Agbayani because he played for the Mets, or Shane Victorino because he played for the Phillies and the Red Sox, or now it's Colton Wong, he plays for the Brewers. So it was kids from the 808 I would pay attention to. There would be some NFL guys too, some offensive linemen, or a guy like Marcus Mariota right now, who not only is from Hawaii but went to Oregon. So that's like double jackpot with him. But I didn't. Now I'm paying attention to the NBA because of the affiliation that I've worked with the Blazers. I wouldn't pay attention to as much NBA if I didn't have the affiliation with the Blazers. But you've got to keep your finger in it to again, because it's part of the homework. So you can be the best presenter and most informed presenter that you can be as a host on SportsCenter.
Okay, speaking of Portland, what are the best places to eat there?
Ooh, well, for steak, you got to go to the Ringside. That's got the old Tony Soprano red leather booths, and I've gone there ever since I was a kid. My dad took me there, so that's the first place that comes to mind. Wow, where else do I go in Portland? Portland's got some good restaurants. Wow, I just found a new one out in Beaverton, but I can't remember the name, like Fresh Catch or something. It was outstanding. We went there a couple times last time, but if you get one at bat, go to the Ringside.
All right. Well, I hope to get up there someday soon. And Neil, I want to thank you for joining us. It's been great to have you here. I'm in Bristol, and I wish you were back up here a little more. And I know we don't get to see each other and talk to each other enough. But again, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your friendship and putting me and Chloe on SportsCenter and highlights. And it's been great to have you be a part of what we do. And I want to thank all our sponsors for Manscaped and Coca-Cola and FanDuel and Fresh Clean Threads and Pro Stance and all those good things. It's been nice to have you, Neil. And I, again, thank you so much for being a part of the Geary, Stein, and Stevens show. So thank you so much. And
in part two, Dave, we'll talk about the time we went to the Super Bowl and you jumped butt naked onto the bed when I was waiting for you in your room. And I got to tell you this, Troy, I did not look long enough to see if he was indeed Manscaped, okay?
Right. No, we've broken the customary rule of that tradition, but yeah. Oh, I should start on the Neil stories. We could start on the Bruce Springsteen concert when you shoved me to the front row in my wheelchair, and that was amazing. And the Police concert, where I think you remember that, was in downtown Hartford, and we've had some great times, my friend. And again, thank you for joining us. Continued success. Congratulations on the extension that we get to see on TV a little more with Linda Cohn and everybody out in LA. And any final thoughts, Troy?
I just really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, Neil. I know you probably got to get ready for tonight's show, but thanks a lot for coming on.
I'm not on tonight, man. I'm on.
Day off, right?
I'm retired, so this is the highlight of my day, man. I appreciate you guys. It was fun, and hopefully next time Kenny's phone will be updated.
Yeah, maybe we can get Norby on the line to get him one of the old ones. Yeah, the ESPN phone that failed, but ESPN's had a lot of failures, so you're not one of them. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Aloha to Neil. This is Dave Stevens for my buddy Troy. That's a wrap. Don't forget to follow us on all podcast platforms. And again, thank you to everybody. This is Dave Stevens checking you out, saying goodbye.